You are watching Pausing with Erik. We pause for a second or two. How do we keep life coherent when so much is changing? This is episode 285, Pausing and Hesitation. In today's episode, we are going back to fundamentals. Going back to pausing in itself. And when sort of describing what pausing is, often we can quickly think about situations when we hesitate. Whenever life is complicated, or there's something we do not fully understand, we find ourselves hesitating. Where should I go now? We think. Or we just freeze for a moment, not really knowing what to do. We hesitate. And hesitation is a very uncomfortable thing. Hesitation can at best be awkward and at worst feel dangerous. So hesitation is a very physical thing. We get a very physical, unpleasant sort of physical cue that we shouldn't hesitate too much. That's how we feel. So today we are sort of looking at what is the relationship between hesitation and pausing. So maybe if we just put them into ends here. Pausing. And hesitation over here. Pausing and hesitation. So today we will look at how do these two sort of relate to one another. What is pausing? What is hesitation? Are there similarities? Are there differences? So to our help, we have our core skill, pause. The skill, the wood cube that everything else is built upon. Pause is our core skill, at the center of everything. The image for pause is the one we all recognize. The pause sign. whenever we get a hunch that there might be something interesting or puzzling going on, we pause for a second or two. Pausing is how we make breathing space and choice. Okay. So from our sort of definition of what pausing is, here and here, we will take a look at hesitation. Okay. I think it's best to begin in this way. Pausing is how we make breathing space and choice. So let's write these two down here below pausing. Breathing space. And choice. Breathing space and choice. So, pausing is how we make breathing space. And then, from that place of breathing space, we will be able to make a personal choice. This is sort of the dynamics of pausing, the logic of pausing. Why do we pause? Because we want more breathing space. Why do we pause? Because we want to be able to make a personal choice at a given moment. That's why we pause. That's why we need pausing. Okay, so this sounds very good. Pausing, breathing space, choice, all good things that we want. But then, in contrast, hesitation looks very bad, very negative, very, like we want to get rid of hesitation. We do not want hesitation. We only want this, all the good stuff here. But that is not really the case in reality. We know that we hesitate all the time. For different reasons, we hesitate. And I think that the answer for why might be here. Here it says, whenever we get a hunch that there might be something interesting or puzzling going on, we pause for a second or two. Interesting or puzzling? So something interesting going on, that would be something positive, right? Or something puzzling, perhaps a bit more negative, something that feels a bit more scary, something that is puzzling. We do not feel on top of it. We feel like, this is unknown and it scares me. It puzzles me. So what if, let's make a sort of hypothesis here. What if the interesting things or the puzzling things in life are actually what makes us hesitate? Could that be the case? That when something is interesting, for puzzling. That is when we hesitate. Okay, so maybe let's do something like this. So both what is interesting makes us hesitate, but also what is puzzling makes us hesitate. Are we maybe getting a bit closer to connecting these two? I think we are. So what does it say here? Whenever we get a hunch that there might be something interesting or puzzling going on, we pause for a second or two. A hunch? Could a hunch be like a hesitation? Like a positive way of framing our hesitation? So what if we would call our hesitation also a hunch? So it's not only hesitation, this is like a pessimistic way of looking at it, but it's also a hunch. What is going on here? I'm getting a hunch. Something feeling interesting or something feeling maybe puzzling is making me sort of catching me and sort of making me think for a moment. Whenever we get a hunch that there might be something interesting or puzzling going on, we pause for a second or two. So here the cube is telling us what to do. It's telling us that when we find ourselves here in hesitation or hunching, we should pause. Okay. That's all good. The cube telling us that when we hesitate or hunch, we should pause. But why don't we? Most often, we do not sort of, we do not want to hesitate. Why don't we pause when we hesitate? Here I think maybe it comes down a bit to personality, that we are different people and we react differently to, being caught off guard or hesitation. But perhaps because when we hesitate, we feel vulnerable. And to sort of pause further from this state of vulnerability, it can feel very counterintuitive. Like, okay, I'm already hesitating, I'm already feeling, on my heels. Why should I pause further? It feels like, fanning the flames maybe. But I'm not really sure it is. Because every time we are bold and actually pause when we hesitate, that's when we get a moment to get to know ourselves, to get to know our hesitation, and to get to know what it was that actually made us hesitate, be it something interesting or something puzzling. So this pausing that this cube is telling us to do when we hesitate, this pausing is interested in these two guys. So there is a relationship here going on between pausing and what was interesting or puzzling. I'm making like a dashed line here, or a hyphen, or what it's called in English. So something catches us off guard and makes us hesitate. And we get some sort of hunch that we could pause. Okay, so we are bold. Let's say we are bold and actually dare to pause even while on our heels. Then we pause and think a second or two about, is there something interesting here that makes me hesitate? Is there something puzzling here that makes me hesitate? And I think when we actually dare to pause and actually dare to contemplate for a second what could be interesting or puzzling here in this present moment, that's when what is interesting might lead to breathing space. That's when what is puzzling might lead to breathing space. Do you see? Are you buying this? Does it sound intuitive? So in order for us to be able to transform our hesitation into breathing space and choice, we need to be curious about what it was that actually made us hesitate. So I guess curiosity might be the key word here, right? Let's write it on top here. A bit bigger, perhaps. Curiosity. I think this might be the key. Curiosity. With curiosity, I think our hesitation, our moments of hesitation, can be seen as hunches, rather. And also confidence, I guess. For every pause that we make, for every hesitation that we actually dare to at least try to transform into pausing and breathing space and choice, we gain confidence. So perhaps confidence is also a good word to have here. So it could be that our intention that we need is curiosity, and what we are building in time is confidence. So that way, in time, we will be able to make use of the interesting stuff and the puzzling stuff that makes us hesitate and feed them into our personal choices. This is sort of our end product, our personal choices. And if we are not interested in this stuff, only want to get rid of it, then I think our personal choices will suffer, become more dull or more impersonal, perhaps. I think that's a good start for the relationship between pausing and hesitation. So not be so fearful about hesitating, perhaps, if that's possible. To sort of know that hesitation is something wise. We hesitate for a good reason. We hesitate because there is actually something interesting or puzzling here, right here. Hesitation is good. Hesitation is necessary. It's fine to hesitate. We all do. It's how we grow. That's it for today. Thank you.